We did it. We did it, boy. Fuck. Well, said I wasn't gonna do it. Then I said I might do it. Well, I went ahead and did it. I kind of spent too much money on this project, but since I did it already, let's go ahead and make a video about it. I kind of bought some Supermoto wheels. I thought they were gonna be great and kind of wasn't what I expected. So I guess in this video I'm gonna show you how to build some Supermoto wheels. I bought some Supermoto wheels from a guy off of a bike called a Qlink. Now if you don't know what a Qlink is, it's kind of like a Chinese Suzuki DR200. It's something that was kind of made for a few years. They got the molds from Suzuki to copy the exact same bike. They put some different plastics on it, and they actually made I think it's called an XF200 from Qlink, and they took that bike and made it a Supermoto. So those wheels will be straight bolt-on to a DR200. Well, I bought those wheels, and you know, they weren't in the best shape. I thought maybe I should fix them, but then looking at them and the design and being Chinese, I kind of just decided, scrap that idea. I don't want to do it. Now, there's nothing wrong with the wheels. They'll work. I can ride all I want on them. They're fine. But because this is a fun project for me, I want to make it something that's going to last, something that looks good. Honestly, with the DRZ that I have, the Warp 9 wheels are awesome. That's kind of what I want to do on this bike. So you can't buy rims from Warp 9 for a DR200. You can buy the rim itself, you can buy the spokes themselves, and you can take your stock hubs and you can lace all that together and make a Supermoto wheel. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. It's kind of a hard thing to source everything. I had to get some rims custom made from a company, Bukan. I really don't even want to try to pronounce it. I'll put that word right here and the website link in the description. I had to give them some measurements for the spokes that I needed. Yeah, this is gonna be a one-of-a-kind build. I've seen like one person do it online, so I really had nothing to go off of, just pretty much research how to build wheels. So I ended up buying the Warp 9 rims, the spokes, a second set of wheels from a stock DR200 because I'm gonna rob those hubs, and I'm gonna use those hubs for my bike so I can have two sets of wheels, one being dirt and one being street, so I can easily switch them back and forth. I bought all the tools to do the job, a truing stand. Well, let me go ahead and show you some of the parts that I got for this build. So I'm gonna start from the outside going in. So first thing I did was I bought some tires off Revzilla. These are Michelin Pilot Street Radials. Nothing special, pretty cheap tire, maybe 200 bucks for both of them. So, you know, it's not a performance bike as we all know, so these will work just fine for the road. You're gonna want these tires to just have a safe size. To where everything fits, nothing rubs. This is the tire sizes that I went with. For the front, I did a 110/70 rim 17. And for the rear, I did a 130/70 rim 17. So moving on, for the rear rim, this is the Warp 9 Elite that I bought from a website called Moto X Industries, I believe. I got the rear at a 4.25 width, rim 17, and for the front it's a 3.5 by 17, 3.50 by 17. Now, whenever I called the company Buchanan to get the spokes, the measurement they needed was from where one of the spokes goes in here to the direct opposite side where the other spoke would go in, and that measurement was 15.5 inches, I believe. And they have my stock hub on file, so they knew with that measurement what size to make all my spokes. So that's the Warp 9 wheels. And when I called the company, I gave them those measurements. Bruh, these motherfuckers don't stop texting me. Buchanan sent me these spokes in. I believe the front rim is supposed to be just one type of spoke, and the rear rim is like 4 different types of spokes from what I've researched. I got them in stainless steel. I may paint them, but to be honest with you, stainless steel should be fine. I think it'll still look cool with the black rim, and then I'm going to paint my hubs black. Speaking of stock hubs, this is the part that you don't really have to do, But I didn't want to use my stock rims because I still want to use my bike as a trail bike. That is the main reason why I bought it. But I wanted the Supermoto option also. So I went on eBay and I bought a stock set of rims, and I'm pretty much going to use them just for the hubs. I got one for the front and one for the rear. So what I'm going to do is take all this off and just use the hub. And I do plan on painting this hub black to match the Warp 9 rim. So my brother paints for a living, so he gave me some codes. So you can probably spray paint them if you wanted to have them black, but I'm gonna get some car paint and paint those hubs as best as I can to match the Warp 9 wheel. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and paint. I bought an extra one of these off eBay, use rear brake, and I'm gonna just paint the cover black to match the hub, so everything is pretty fresh looking black. So behind me, I bought this off Amazon. It was a pretty cheap one, but this is gonna be one of the main tools that's gonna help me get my rims straight whenever I lace them. Lacing truing stand. This was like 50 bucks off Amazon, but this is gonna allow me to get everything straight and balanced whenever I put my wheels together. So that's gonna be a very helpful tool. And with that, I actually went ahead and got this too. It's just a gauge that just kind of tells you how far out of alignment you are. So, you know, you can use a paint stick, a ruler, a marker. I've seen people use different things, but just to get it as accurate as possible, that is why I bought this. It wasn't really that expensive, maybe I think $20, $30 on Amazon, but I plan on doing this again in the future to other bikes, so that's why I went ahead and bought all this. It's not necessary to do the job. Along with that, I got a spoke wrench from Tusk. Pretty simple deal. I also ordered a torque wrench for spokes, but that has not came in yet. That's something I'm going to also use to make sure that all the spokes are torqued down correctly. And really one of the coolest parts is I got this Acerbis, Acerbis, however you say it. It's your typical, is it a Supermoto if you don't have this fender? So I went ahead and ordered that. This would actually look really cool on that bike, I think. One of my friends has one on his DRZ400 and it looks pretty sweet. So I'm gonna have a baby DRZ. I got this from a guy. This is a kickstand that was shortened. I'm gonna clean it up and paint it. With Supermoto wheels, it's gonna drop the bike close to what a Grom seat height is. It's gonna be very short with 17-inch wheels. So with that lowered height, we're gonna need a lowered kickstand. So I'll clean this up and probably use this to help the bike have a little more lean whenever you park it. Being that I geared the bike really low for trails with a 12 tooth in the front and the 45 in the back, I think is what it is, stock. You know, I want to be able to swap these wheels out really quickly. So I got a new chain and sprockets. The front sprocket I will leave on for both dirt and Supermoto setup. So this is a 13 tooth. So whenever I run my Supermoto wheels, I'm gonna have a 13 in the front and a 39 in the rear for a little more top speed. And then whenever I switch to my dirt wheels, my dirt rims have a 45 tooth rear sprocket. So I'll have a 13 in the front and a 45 in the rear for my off-road wheels. So I'll have a little more torque and acceleration for the woods, switch out the wheels, I'll have a little more top speed for the street. So that's the plan with this, new sprockets and chain. Then of course I just got rim strips and tubes. So, you know, that's your basic thing you're gonna need to put inside the tire. And for the most part, that's really it for what I'm gonna be putting on this bike as far as tools go and parts. Really, I think this is gonna be a lot easier than most people think. You know, I think it's gonna be more difficult to get the rim straight than to put everything together. But I guess I'm about to find out, and there's no turning back now. So here we go. got our wheel here. Got all our spokes and our nipples. With the spoke kit, it came with some oil to drop in each one, because it says if you don't, that the stainless steel nipples and spokes might seize when you try to tighten them. So I already went ahead and took this oil and dropped it in each nipple. So we have our freshly painted hub that somewhat pretty much matches our rim. I don't think it'll look good. So we got that, and we're gonna start on the front wheel here. Let's get into it. I got my dirt wheel here to kind of go off of as like a reference to make sure that these spokes go in the right place. So far, I got some spokes laid out, and we're just gonna go ahead and start screwing in some nipples and work this wheel in. So we'll start here. This is not a tutorial on how to build a wheel, because there's plenty of videos of that. This is just me showing you how I'm building my wheels. You can use all the parts. If you have a DR200, you can use all the parts I reference and it'll work. But as far as building a wheel, I'm not a professional. Refer to YouTube for that, because that's all I did. All right, so that's the first set in there. Oh, wait, nope, sorry, forgetting one. I'm just getting them snug. I'm not tightening them all the way right now, because obviously I'm gonna have to go back and true everything. I just want to get them to where I still have a few threads left. So that's in there. All right, so let me refer to this wheel. Let's see, so that lined up like that. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Fall out. Okay. All right, now that we got the front wheel laced up all the way, all the spokes are just hand tight. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it on the truing stand and try to get it as straight and tight as I can. So let's do that. Oh, what the frick? Don't tell me. The shaft is too small. Wow. Well, that's not good. You kidding me? Well, I'm gonna have to go find a pipe. Stay tuned, fam. All right, so this axle that goes on this stand did not fit in this bearing for the wheel, so I had to take a quick stop to the hardware store and just bought this metal rod that's straight to where we could put the wheel on. That was an unforeseen deal there. So we'll slide this on so we can true this. That should be good. That. All right, let's see how out of whack this sucker is. So this is the Warp 9 box of tools. There's the torque wrench, and right now we're just gonna use the regular wrench to try to get this straight. 6.9 millimeter head on there. Loosen and tighten these spokes. Alright, so last night I finished lacing up the rear wheel. I did that off camera. Definitely more tedious than this front wheel. The front wheel has all the same spokes, so it was pretty easy how all that slapped together. Truing it's a different story. You have to have patience, but the front wheel wasn't too bad. The rear wheel wasn't difficult. The hardest part was trying to figure out where every spoke went, because you have 4 different spokes, 2 different bends, and 4 different lengths. So one side has longer spokes, one side has shorter spokes, and each side has 2 different bends on the inner and outer. It didn't take me too long, a few hours on this wheel, lacing it and truing it. And truing it, it just depends on how much patience you have. If you have a lot of patience, you can get it really straight. So I spent a good bit of time getting these wheels as straight as possible. So now, with the rim strip and everything on, everything's laced up, ready to go, it's time to put some tires on. All right, cool. So this is the Qlink wheel, and you can see, there's another reason why I didn't like it. Do not know what this lip is for. Look how deep that thing is. And this is my favorite part about them, right here. You know you got a good tire when you got a Kingstone tire. Yeah, see, that's about as big of a tire as you're gonna get on here. unless you start cutting into stuff. I mean, the little nipples on the side of this tire are just barely rubbing this chain guard. The tire's good, and I'm not gonna rub anything besides that, but man, that's about all you can fit in there. That's it, dude. Whew. Yes, indeed. All right, the wheels are finally on. They look pretty damn sweet. I'm super happy with that. But I'm even more excited to finally put this thing on the ground and ride it. Let's do that. Oh, dude, that looks pretty damn sweet. And that gold chain, that accents it perfectly. And one thing y'all should know too, so with the gearing now, we got a 13 in the front, a 39 in the rear, so that if you do the math on that, it actually is the same ratio as stock gearing. So with these wheels and everything set up the way it is, it's pretty much stock gearing from the factory with this setup. Now dirt wheels will be a little more acceleration torque, but for the street, this is probably gonna be perfect, just like out the factory. So let's give it a ride. It rolls so good. Hell yeah, dude. I wish it wasn't starting to rain right now. Dude, that's perfect. We did it. We did it, boy. So, to switch that look back over to Supermoto, we got something like that. That's gonna be nice. Instead of those big square mirrors, we'll throw these puppies on. Yeah. This should 100% finish the look of that. Sweet. So also a lot of people ask me about how I did this Fender Eliminator. So on that second video I did, the link's in the description for it, but I bought that from a DR200, and if you look under here, what I did was I took out that inner fender that was all in here, and what I did was the existing bolts to the frame, or nuts, I just re-drilled this bracket and then put some bolts straight through it into that, just for the right holes to align. And then right here, I want to get a longer screw that goes through the middle of the fender and be able to bolt that third spot too. I just haven't gotten that screw yet. I need to go to the hardware store and get that. But it's pretty simple. Really, that was it. Just drill holes in the bracket and put new screws in that bolt to the frame that's already there. I mean, it didn't take me long. And then all I did was that this was a little bent more than I wanted with the license plate. So the license plate was at more of an angle. So all I did was put that in my vise and just straighten it just a little bit. to make my license plate a little flatter back here. But that's it. And then other than that, it's just wiring in everything, and that's pretty, you know, I'm not gonna explain that. And then just put tie wraps on all my new wires and tucked it in real clean, and that's it, you know. But no serious modifications here. So the build came out awesome. I'm super happy with it. These wheels look so sweet on this bike. The Qlinks, hey, that wasn't a bad idea, but this is definitely the way to go. Everything that I've done to this bike, I'll have all the links in the description, so if you want anything off this build, you can go ahead and click those links and you'll be able to find it. Honestly, I want to see some more people do this. There's not a lot of these done. I've seen some older models done on YouTube, but there's not a lot of information on them. With this, I think anybody could pretty much build these wheels and have a little DR200SM of their own. So I want to see more of that. If you do, post that in the comments. And I appreciate y'all tuning in. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll have more builds to come. Peace.